Tango down. You get teabagged, sir. You get teabagged. You shouldn't have died. Hit. What is going on YouTube? Spinkstercell here. Welcome yet again to my channel, and what we're going over today is finally my review of the EMG Salient Arms 2011 Hi Capa. So EMG stands for Evike Manufacturing Group. They're the ones who made it possible to get SAI licensed products. So this one is actually built and OEM'd by WeTech. Now you know I have my problems with WeTech, but we're going to go over quality control in this video as well and take a look at that, and also some stories that I've heard about this pistol. But first of all, I want to say, look at this beautiful white box. So Salient Arms is known for their flashy pistols, and their packaging is no different. You can see here it is, the Salient Arms 2011, and it is a very nice full-size heavyweight double-stacked Hi Capa type pistol. So these are completely compatible with any Hi Capa from WeTech. So maybe some Tokyo Marui parts as well, since I believe the Hi Capas are more to spec than the single stacks, but it's pretty decently weighted, and it's beautiful. It's got the gold barrel, of course, which just looks awesome. And the first thing I noticed when I picked up this gun was how tight the slide was. It's a very nicely fit slide. It's very tight, and of course there's a little bit of wobble in there, but that's to be expected with gas guns anyway. But so I got mine from Hop-Up. It's an airsoft trading app that I like to use and like to mention. And I only paid about $80 for this one because it didn't come with a magazine. Otherwise, it was in pretty much brand new shape. There was nothing wrong with it. But then my friend, he was filming a Devil May Cry video, and he dropped it, and all of this damage right here occurred. This entire chunk of the slide came off, big nick here and here, and then a little nick in the back. So very unfortunate that a 5-foot drop did this much damage, and that's part of what I'm saying for the whole quality control thing with WeTech. So to replace this, you got to replace the whole slide, but mine, luckily enough, still works despite this. So very disappointing, but let's take a look at the gun some more. It is definitely one of the best looking pistols that have come out lately. But how does it work though? Does it work as good as it looks? We're about to find out. And we're going to have a little bit of gameplay mixed in with this review so that you can get an idea of how this gun shoots. Alright, so like I said, mine didn't come with a magazine, but our friend Philip, he was able to supply us with some Hi Capa mags that he didn't need no more. Now, the original one does come with a giant mag bumper on the bottom, which I could probably show you guys. I like the flat mag anyway because I like the flush look with the Hi Capa. I don't want a big old mag bumper hanging out the bottom. He also gave us the extended Hi Capa magazine, but what's unfortunate is that the release valve is a slightly different shape than the one that does work out. So you can see it's a lot thinner, and it just doesn't release the gas, which is kind of lame because extended mag would be very awesome with this gun. So we're on evike.com. We got them pulled up on the iPad here. So manufactured by EMG, or at least licensed to get all the trademarks. So it means that Evike sells it. Now I'm pretty sure these are sold elsewhere. And as you can see, we're looking at the 4.3 model. There's the extended base plate. And the gun right now is $169. Still pretty pricey, even though it used to be $180. Luckily I got mine for only $80, just without a magazine. You can see they come with the CO2 mags, or you can get the 5.1. So mine down there is the 5.1. So it does say that it's manufactured by AW Customs / WeTech, which is sort of a good thing. So AW Customs takes WeTechs and upgrades them, makes them more reliable in a sense, and they definitely work better than a stock WeTech. So this gun has a FPS of 320 to 350. People definitely call their hits when they get shot, and the recoil on this is fantastic. I will say it's very good. So far from what I've had on the field, very reliable pistol. So the stock magazines looks like it has 30+1 in those magazines, and they're the Hi Capa style. So any TM or VTech mags will work just fine in this gun. It is quite a nice gun, and it is decently heavy. I didn't see a weight on the Evike webpage, but maybe I'll just clip that in a little note. Let's go over trademarks real fast. We see Salient Arms written in the slide. This is not painted, this is actually engraved, which I love. It's an extra touch that you should definitely have on a pistol that costs almost $180. You see the SAI logo printed into the grip. Has a little texture to it. It definitely looks really nice, and it's painted white, of course. So really cool logo. I like that a lot. Then we have Salient Arms International, Las Vegas. I guess the real one comes from there. Another Salient square there, engraved. Then Salient on the slide. And then the barrel, which is like the bread and butter of this gun, has a cutout made to it. And it says SAI. Now this barrel is a lot like a standard VTech barrel because they look identical on those markings there. You can see here that the chamber is kind of recessed, like it's got a cut to it. And then this cool little speed cut. That's something that Kimbers like to do. You can see the difference with a standard chamber. So you can see 45 ACP, a lot of VTechs have that. And you can also see how the paint has been kind of worn from use, which is to be expected. But it won't completely wear away the whole barrel. It's just, that's where a lot of high traffic is. So let's take a look at the nozzle and how long that stays stuck forward. So you can see, pull it back slightly. So you can see it is not sticking to the barrel. So this would mean that the gas is flowing much better and more efficiently. Yeah, I haven't had many issues with running out of gas. The one time it did run out of gas, it granted me a double knife kill, so I can't complain about that. Here you are in the front. See the fluted barrel. It looks fantastic. You can see some slight serrations in it, so it makes a cool sound when you release it. One of my biggest disappointments about this gun is the fact that it does not come with a threaded barrel. There are no threads with this barrel. But as you can see, it is the fluted barrel design, the Hi Capa style, 2011. So there is no barrel bushing. And then you have your extended guide rod, which is made of, well, I don't know what it's made out of, but it is silver. We'll go over built materials during the disassembly though. This gun did have an orange tip. It had glue behind it as well, so you're going to have to boil that in a boiling pot of water. And then pretty much just break it off with some pliers. It's the only way to really do it. Alright, so we're going to go more into features of the gun. First of all, I want to state that the color is like a dark steel gray color. It's not necessarily black. Really nice part is the green fiber optic sight, and I feel that was a very nice touch to this pistol, and these are pretty much my favorite iron sights to use. I feel they're really easy with that big green front sight. Very well built. It doesn't really wobble. You can see that the front sight has some texturing below it, like some serrations. Not sure why. These are definitely removable sights, but why would you want to change these out? These are incredible sights. You can see here you have these serrations down the top of the slide, which looks fantastic. I love that extra touch, and that is to eliminate glare. So then you have your Salient Arms style rear sight. It's very nicely made. Really cool design going to it. It's got a bit of texture on it too. I will say that this pistol is very accurate. From all the airsofting I've done with it so far on the field, I was getting really easy, quick target acquisition with these sights. They're really good, and the pistol itself, very accurate. So I definitely stand by this one. This gun features front cocking serrations, and then it also features them in the back. These are very well done and easy to get a grip on. Underneath the pistol is a picatinny rail with one slot. And I do have my Surefire out today. Let's put that on there. It's a very tight fit, and I don't think it went into the slot. My Surefire actually is a little off, but as you can see, this pistol looks really nice with a Surefire. Every time I ran the pistol, I had it equipped. Very tactical, very easy to reach, and it's a good fit. Alright, so here in the middle of the gun, we have our trigger. The front of the trigger is flat, so this is a flat trigger, straight trigger, and I definitely think these are very comfortable. Like, no matter where you're touching it, the surface area is evenly dispersed. Now, the trigger isn't necessarily as good as a standard 1911, or at least like my other one down here, which we'll compare the trigger pull to. But let's check it out. So, You can see there's quite a bit of take up before it actually hits the wall, and 1911s have the best triggers, so this is quite a lot of a take up. And then still hasn't broke yet. There it goes. And then there's still a lot of over travel. So let's check out the reset point all the way up here, basically. Yeah, so a lot of over travel, and once it's been caulked, a lot of slack. And I'll show you an example of a gun that doesn't have that. This is my SOCOM gear. So this one has been upgraded. New leaf springs, new trigger. This is like an AKA trigger. And you could see the screw on the inside. That is for over travel adjustment. So this is the amount of pull. Very short amount of pull before it'll actually break. So that's just something I noticed about the trigger, is that there is quite a bit of slack to it compared to like if you were to do a custom race gun with a tuned trigger. It looks like it has a hole for it, but I'm not sure if you can actually put the screw in there and you know, accompany that. Right above that is the slide release. This is a salient style slide release with the cut here, I guess for lightening it up. There are no texturing to it, but it is shaped kind of like a Kimber style. And this gun always locks back on empty. There were no issues with that. So here's the magazine release. I've heard a lot of things about these breaking, especially on the CO2 editions. The spring on the inside feels pretty weak. You know, it's pretty squishy. I haven't had any magazine issues, like the mags haven't fallen out or anything. And these are some super heavy mags. It definitely adds weight to the gun. But no issues so far. I first brought it out. Somebody said that their friend had one and his entire outer barrel flew out, which is reminiscent of WeTech. It happened to my G18 and it happened to my 1911. So my 1911, I just glued it back in. I think I used Loctite instead of super glue, so I wanted it to be a really good fit. Do you want to hear that your product had a barrel fly out? That's just embarrassing. We have the Slimline 1911 grips. So I'm not sure these grips are compatible with normal 1911 grips. They appear to be about the same size and line up with the holes and stuff. So I think you can change them out, but at that point, it'll just be way too fat. It's like that's a normal 1911 next to it. They are fantastic though. The texture is great. Definitely no issues holding on to this pistol. Another nice touch is that we have hex screws instead of the traditional 1911 straight slot that you get on a lot of pistols. You have serrations in the front for your fingers. Very well done. The whole back strap, very nicely done. Very aggressive. This gun really fits in your hands very well. You're not going to drop it. The back strap is kind of like flush a little bit. So I almost thought this wasn't I thought the grip was too fat for this to even matter, but apparently it is still a safety. So here we have the safety. As you can see, mine still works just fine, even though there's a bit of slide missing there. I know, it's pretty embarrassing. Not my fault, and is obviously ambidextrous. Something I noticed on pretty much every Airsoft 1911, including Tokyo Marui, is that the right side will wiggle up and down, so I just don't like to use it. Another thing I noticed is that they kind of pop out no matter what. TM and WeTech. Something about their design. They're not going to come off the gun, but it's just not fit very well. Obviously holding it thumbs forward with the thumb rest here, extremely comfortable. Alright, so next is our Hi Capa combat style hammer. This hammer looks really good. As you can see here, this little square in the very bottom, that is done on purpose because if you take a look at the old SOCOM gears, even the Tokyo Maruis do this. You can see all this damage right there from it hitting the inside of the frame. So what EMG did, or I guess AW Customs, I guess, they made sure that that part is reinforced. So I think that's a new thing going on. So as you can see, the hammer itself is kind of off to the left. It looks really wonky looking. And then when you pull it down, it still looks kind of wonky and off to the left. This is no big issue. Of course the pistol works fine. Here you go in the very back of the slide. Now what I like about this is it has like a fake firing pin that's spring loaded. So, see the little spring. Yeah, you can see it's a little spring loaded fake firing pin. That's a really neat touch. Last time I saw that on an airsoft gun was my KWA P226 from a really long time ago. Is that it has a square trigger guard, which is always a nice look on a 1911. It works well for these flashlights, of course. Then on the bottom, the mag well is pretty beveled to accept, you know, any Hi Capa mag, and is definitely faster than a standard 1911. So let's talk about tolerance. So hammer down. Now that is the slide you're hearing, but I feel the slide is fit very well. You could see that it's not like coming up and down. That is something that happens on a lot of standard Hi Capas that are pretty cheap, but this slide is pretty tightly on the gun, so I like that a lot. I will say that for fitment and stuff, you could see in the front of the gun that the barrel looks like it's off to the left. Can you tell? It's off to the left just a tad bit. I have not had any accuracy issues with this so far. Also, talking about build, you could see inside the barrel that it has an aluminum black inner barrel, which is great. That gives it a realistic look, and it's obviously more accurate than the stock brass inner barrels. So the trigger itself, this is standard on any 1911 basically, except a real one. It's going to move up and down like that. But I'm ready to take this thing apart. Now, it's a standard 1911. So obviously it comes apart like any other one. That pops right out. Now we can take that off. Let's take a look at the slide here. Now this is how you know AW Customs was involved. They put their red nozzle in there and their red hop-up wheel. I don't think I've actually taken this gun apart before, but even though it's set kind of towards the front, I was getting really good accuracy with this pistol, and I didn't have to change it. Oh, another thing I will note about fitment is the rear sight does wobble just a tiny bit, and there are no screws in these holes to tighten it up, so you can't do any fitment with that. Oh, it's got a steel guide rod. That's actually kind of cool. That's a good thing. Now let's take it apart. Now, obviously this is standard Hi Capa business going on here. Alright, so I got that out. You can see the full metal guide rod. You can see this one is designed to fit into a Hi Capa because it's all squared off. AW Customs did theirs in red, so I guess they replaced the WeTech parts. Now this I don't like from WeTech because this falls apart. It's made of plastic. The Tokimiri ones have it built into this piece here, so it's already metal. This one is plastic, however. See how this one's like cracked up? I put a little super glue dab on it and it kept it together, but they break extremely easily, so that's something to definitely keep your eye on with this pistol. So let's take the barrel out. Very good looking barrel. And here it is, the fluted golden, you can see little serrations on it. 5.1 Hi Capa barrel. And it is basically, you know, this is all basically WeTech. Doesn't seem to have much grease in it. Put a little silicone oil in there, I guess. Hammer is aluminum. Obviously the disc connectors are steel. And then the trigger itself, I'm guessing, yeah. Yep, definitely aluminum. And yeah, that's basically the bottom there. So yeah, that will fit. So that is possible. You can mix and match parts with this gun. And both of the combinations should work. Alright, so that was basically my full in-depth review of the EMG Salient Arms International. So what can I say about it? It is definitely a very pretty gun. When I opened the box, this gun took my breath away. When I first felt the stiff slide and how well that's fit compared to like a stock pistol, I was very impressed with the way it felt. Now, with the way it's shot, I do have green gas magazines, and the green gas magazines, they're a little weak when it comes to blowback and how fast the slide cycles. It is decent enough. Like I said, I did use it for an entire day playing Airsoft, and I thought it worked out very well. But I would highly recommend CO2 magazines. These are decently priced. I've seen one for $60 on Hop-Up, so definitely don't pay $180 for these. It's kind of a ripoff, and if it broke, I'd feel very upset about that, so keep that in mind. Definitely recommend this pistol. Go out and buy it if you're into that scene. You just can't put a suppressor on it, so a little disappointing, I guess. But yeah, I am going to use this pistol a lot more, so we're going to have even more gameplay. But I have quite a bit of gameplay as it is that you can watch. So thanks for watching this review, and stay tuned.